English is the international language of aviation, but as in all trades and professions, the words and phrases used can be confusing to beginners. Understanding what is said on the radio depends in a large measure on knowing what to expect. Be patient. As you learn the words and phrases, aviation communications will soon become easy. Using the radio in an airplane is much like using the telephone. The biggest difference is that both parties can't talk simultaneously. When you make a phone call, you first ask for the person you want to talk to. Next, you identify yourself, and after your conversation, you acknowledge the information and say goodbye. Let's listen to how this is done using the airplane radio.
Warren County traffic, Cessna 12064 is 10 miles to the south inbound for landing runway 19er, Lebanon, Warren County.
Our call consisted of 4 W's. The first W is, who are you calling? In this case, you were making a transmission to anyone using the Warren County Airport. The second W is, who are you? This is the full call sign for your airplane. The next W is, where are you? You are 10 miles south of the airport. The last W, what do you want, was to let everyone know you will be approaching the airport and landing on runway 19. Since a common radio frequency may be used by multiple airports, repeating your location at the end of a transmission is a courtesy to those who may not have heard it at the beginning.
Here's another type of transmission.
Claremont County Unicom, Cessna 388 Echo Sierra at the departure end of runway 22. I'm unfamiliar with the airport. Could you instruct me on where to get fuel?
8 Echo Sierra, Claremont County Unicom. Make a right turn from your present position and take the parallel taxiway to the center of the airport. Cross the runway and taxi up to the building with the Sporties on it.
Claremont County Unicom, Cessna 8 Echo Sierra, roger.
8 Echo Sierra, watch for the lineman, he'll park you.
We will look for the lineman, 8 Echo Sierra.
If you've made a call that requires a response, it's important and expected to acknowledge the response with your call sign.
I know this sounds too easy, but the 4 W's cover most of your radio communications.
Let's take a closer look at each of the W's. First, who you are calling. During your first few hours, you might be talking to a Unicom station or a tower.
What we call a tower may actually have several distinct responsibilities. In the early days, these were all handled by the tower controller in the glass cage. But as air traffic increased, it became necessary to divide the workload. 2 of the tower services you're most likely to use during your early flights are ground and tower. Ground control is responsible for controlling the use of the taxiways and ramp areas. This function is called by the airport name and ground. Tower assigns and controls the use of the runways for takeoff and landing. Again, use the airport name and the word tower. Unicom is a non-government radio station. Unicom is an acronym for Unified Communications, and it's available at most airports which do not have a control tower. You can request airport advisory information on the Unicom frequency. Calls to Unicom are made by using the airport name and the word Unicom. For example, Claremont Unicom. You should be aware that a Unicom station is not always attended. The generic term for the radio channel to use at airports without an operating control tower is Common Traffic Advisory Frequency. The CTAF is indicated on aeronautical charts and other publications.
The second W is who you are, and it's quite simple. Your call sign is the make, model, or type of airplane, followed by all of the numbers and phonetic letters of the airplane registration, omitting the prefix letter N, which is the prefix for aircraft registered in the United States. This airplane is Cessna 9er15 Charlie Romeo.
The third W is where are you? This is your location on the airport, or, if in the air, your position, such as 10 miles east.
The fourth W is what you want. This will typically be your request to ATC or your intentions at a non-towered airport, such as approaching to land or taking off on the active runway.
There are some basic common sense practices you need to follow when making radio calls. An important one is listen before you transmit. Keying the transmitter when someone else is transmitting will jam the frequency. Remember, it's a party line. It's unprofessional and ineffective to step on a communication between others. You should also wait a few seconds before repeating a call. The other person may be busy and can't respond immediately. You'll need to think about and know what you want to say before keying the transmitter. Be precise and use the minimum number of words necessary to get the message across. Avoid jargon, chatter, and CB slang on the radio. And if you don't understand what the person you're talking to means, ask for clarification. Don't acknowledge a transmission if you don't completely understand what was said. You don't ever want to be confused about instructions.
Most training airplanes are noisy, and you'll be concentrating on flying. Using a headset will make the communications much clearer and also give you the benefit of hearing protection.
In learning to use the radio, proper use of the microphone is essential. A cockpit can be a loud place with all the engine and wind noise. To assure you're heard clearly over the extraneous sounds, position the microphone close to your lips. Press the push-to-talk button and speak in a normal but firm voice. If you're doing it properly, your lips will come very close to touching the microphone. Use of a handheld microphone in the airplane is similar, except the push-to-talk switch is located on the microphone itself. Lastly, the person you're talking to is a human being. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Simply correct yourself and go on with your message.